I used to be that kind of person who would always look up the best way to do something before I actually started doing it. And I thought I was actually really smart for this, right? Like, oh, I'm looking for the best route to get to where I want to be, right? And so by the time I actually start, putting in the time before I start walking that distance, I have the most efficient route. You know what I mean? I used to think that, this is actually, a really good thing to do. And to some extent it is, but you can probably relate to this. It gets to a point where you actually start to focus too much on how to get it done than actually getting it done, right? And I started to see growth in my life, on my channel, in my fitness, when I stopped, looking at what's the best way to do it. And I just started doing it, even in my relationship with God, right? Instead of, watching all these videos on how to improve my relationship with God, I just did the basics. I just started reading my word more consistently, reading the word more consistently, right? Praying more fervently. Like, most people want the best method, but they don't even have the fundamentals down. And that might be you. You might be watching this video and you might be doing something I like to call productively procrastinating. It's a pretty common term. It's been thrown around a few times. I'm sure you've heard it before. But if you haven't, it just means that you're doing something that you believe is productive, but doesn't actually add value to your life in the real world, right? So you researching the best workouts is actually not as productive as actually just doing workouts. Even if your form might be trash, even if you might not actually know what you're doing, you're actually making real-time progress. You're actually doing the work, right? You watching videos on how to study the Bible, the best way to study the Bible, how to, cross-reference different translations and all that kind of stuff. That, seems productive, but you're just sitting there watching someone tell you what to do, and you're not actually doing the thing. And before you know it, you've watched one video, 2 videos, 5 videos, 10 videos, right? You've wasted an hour or 2 that you could have just been spending actually doing the thing. There's this verse in Ecclesiastes, one of my favorite books in the Bible by far, right? And it's Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4. In it, our God Solomon here says, "He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap." Right? So what does this mean? It's basically just referring to a farmer, right? Like, if a farmer, just waits for like the perfect weather conditions, to start sowing, then he'll never reap. Like, he'll almost never reap, right? A lot of us, you may be like this farmer over here. You're waiting for the perfect time, but there really ain't no perfect time. I'm sure you've heard this quote, very, very, very overused, but it stands the test of time. It says, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. And so the mindset I want to ingrain in you, the mindset that I have adopted, that has allowed me to see this improvement in all these areas of my life, is just showing up. So just like show up, just sow, and keep watering, because most people want the best, the best conditions to sow, the best water to use, right? The best fertilizer, but they're not actually doing anything. They haven't even bought the seeds to sow. So if you just take that action, you've already separated yourself from so many people. Like, so many people. I'm telling you, so many folks could do what I do with this channel, could do what I do in any area of my life. But You know why I do it, how I do it? It's because I just show up. I have people who ask me like, Vince, what are some tips on starting out on YouTube? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, really don't overthink it. You know, don't compare yourself to me. Compare yourself to your past self and ask yourself, how can I become better than I was last time? Because if you compare yourself to me, what's going to happen is that you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes. You don't know what I'm cooking up, right? So you'll always just be comparing your current self to my past self, while I'm comparing myself, right, to my past self in order to become my future self. So instead of you comparing yourself to me in any regards, you just compare yourself to your past self and ask yourself, how can I become better? Then maybe you use me as a way of getting inspiration. Like, I have a lot of people that I get inspiration from, but I don't allow myself to compare. I'm not out there meticulously studying how they do their things, because heck, they were probably not doing that. They're probably just improving, showing up. Really, there's a lot of things that come together to create this thing we call success, right? And instead of overthinking it, just show up. Because the more you show up, the more that seed grows into a plant, and that plant grows into a tree. And you find that you didn't even put as much effort as you thought you like honestly should have. But you got the fruits because you just kept showing up. So that's my 2 cents. I hope you found value from this. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the Jesus Gang, because we're always putting out new content. Join the community, join the Discord. So many people out there, sharing wisdom. We're not just talking and stuff, but we're actually making things happen, right? We're making things happen in the Discord. So join the Discord. Also follow me on, Instagram. Reason why is just because I want to start like doing partnerships and stuff with, certain folks and brands. So when you just hit that follow button, it really helps me out. Also, I post content on there, not as consistently as here, but I'm trying to push that as well. So, drop a follow. Anyway, peace out.